far beyond what I expected.
Yeah, we've been to a lot of heterosexual weddings and gone, you people are just carrying on too much here. They're not. It's real. It's just extraordinary.
It was an emotional day for more than 100 LGBTQ couples at Toronto's Casa Loma as they tied the knot in a mass wedding as part of World Pride. One of our next guests made international headlines when he performed what is now considered the first legal same-sex marriage in the world. That was in 2001. Reverend Brent is the senior pastor at Toronto's Metropolitan Community Church, and he's also the Grand Marshal of this year's World Pride Parade. Also with us is Justin Preston, who at 21 has started a movement to help LGBT youth. And we welcome both of you to Canada AM this morning. Reverend Hawks, I want to start with you. And I want you, if you can, to paint a picture of what it was like in the 70s when you got here.
It was a very scary time in a very scary place. We couldn't trust the police. Whenever there was a gathering of gay people, we would be careful when we broke up that we didn't get attacked by the police. We were always afraid of the gay bashers. One time I was chased down Yonge Street by a group with baseball bats. And it was a large drag queen who jumped out of one of the bars and pulled me in and rescued me. And so it was very difficult. People would be fired from their jobs if they were gay or rumored to be gay. There was no protection, could be kicked out of their apartment buildings. If a person's partner were in the hospital in intensive care, you weren't allowed to get in because you weren't viewed as family. And so it was very difficult. But there were some courageous people who started to fight back and to speak up and to come out. And over time, things have changed dramatically.
Yeah, you know what? And you are one of the courageous ones, of course. And I just want to underscore here, you talked about, you know, how difficult it was, but you had to wear bulletproof vests at times. You were concerned about your safety to that level.
Yeah, the police came to me on a number of occasions and said, you know, there have been death threats, that I need to take precautions. They didn't want me to go in the Pride Parade one year, and I said, I'm not backing off. You can't surrender leadership to negative people. And yeah, when I did those first weddings, I had a bulletproof vest, 12 bodyguards protecting me. There were 50 police officers in the basement of the church, protesters outside. I was assaulted that morning in church. But it was an unbelievably exciting day because we knew we were making history, and that what started that day we've now seen expand around the world, so it's pretty exciting.
We absolutely have 110 weddings yesterday. I want to get to you, Justin, because I watched you listening as Reverend Hawks was telling his story, and you kept looking at him like, wow, right? This happened.
It is so different from hearing from the older generation to the younger. Like coming from high school too, like I thought that was bad. And then you look back like years and years and years and you see like there's been a lot of change and it's really good.
You came out at 13.
I did.
And what happened to that point?
Well, when I came out, it was just like a rumor. It spread like wildfire. The next day everyone knew. I thought it was like an okay thing, you know, I'm just who I am.
How did you come out? How did you do it?
Actually, I told a friend actually told someone else,
okay.
And it just spread.
And then your life became what?
I went in from elementary school, went right into high school, and things weren't easy at all. Okay. I thought it's a new start, going into high school, like new friends, new everything. And it was totally different because I already knew people knew who I was when I first got there, because I was gay. So when I got there and people were talking, you'd see the social media, you go home and people are already talking about you. It's very uncomfortable trying to just start your first day in grade 9 and then as trying to grow as a person and be proud of who you are. It's very hard not having people to also look at as role models when I came from a small town.
You were bullied?
Yes,
yeah.
A lot.
You were bullied a lot. How did you get through those times?
It was actually people online, like, for example, YouTube celebrities like Chris Crocker, Jeffree Star. Seeing that there was people like them out there in the world that they can express themselves for who they were made me feel like I was worth to live. I was worth to use my voice. And it was just that I knew deep inside that I was worth living. And not all the things that people said to me, I should not have let them bring me down to the point where I was actually losing self-confidence and doubt in myself.
And now you use your voice. You know,
I use my voice.
Do you ever use your voice?
I am using my voice, and I've been facing my fears with anxiety, like self-doubt, thinking, is this good enough? But I am here today to be a voice for those who are silent. And it's just amazing to actually be able to use your voice to help other people.
Wow. You're an amazing young man. You really are. And
Thank
the
you.
Reverend knows it too.
Yeah, I can't imagine, you know, when I was in high school, I could hide. And yes, there were comments and things that were said, but, you know, because you live at home, and I raised in a small town in New Brunswick, terrified that someone would find out I was gay. It wasn't until I left home, left high school, had a job, had other friends, that I had the courage to come out. And I just have so much respect for the kids in school like Justin, who are not only coming out, but are speaking up for other people, who are forming GSAs in their schools, because we know bullying is a huge problem in Canada. Youth suicide is a huge problem. So we have a lot of work to do, but it's being changed by people like Justin, who are speaking up, coming out, and being courageous, when I could never have done it when I was in high school.
Reverend, here's what I want to know from you, because you're amazing. And I want to know, as a man of the cloth, how much pressure there has been on you inside of the religious community.
Well,
Because, you know, you've got the beatings you described and people throwing eggs at you and everything else on the streets, but what about in that community?
Yeah. The biggest opposition to gay rights in Canada and around the world is religious-based. Religious homophobia is the enemy. And here in Canada, we have extreme radical evangelicals who are going around the world spreading hate in other countries. There were just representatives of the evangelical community in Jamaica, and helping the politicians there to write laws to prevent gay people from having protection. To extend the time that gay people will be thrown in jail simply for loving another person of their same gender in Jamaica. And so we're spreading hate from Canada, and it's the religious community, the extreme evangelicals, that are doing it. So it's really important for religious leaders to be speaking up and to counteract that, because if gay people see the church as the enemy, that's a problem. And so it's my job and the job of others to speak up and to say, just because you're mad at the church doesn't mean you have to give up on spirituality or God.
We had a young man named Richard on the show a little earlier this week, Justin, and he's from Nigeria, and he was part of that whole, you know, story where there are anti-gay laws there, and he was outed in the newspaper. And he told us his story. So he woke up one morning, and his name was on the front page, and his family said, you know what, can't really associate with you much anymore. His high school, where he was a leader, wanted to expunge him from the books. He was a prefect there, a leader there. And he said to us, you know what, and he's going back to Nigeria, by the way. He was here for World Pride. He said, I've got to go back. I've got to go back because my voice needs to be heard. And you remind me a lot of him.
That just gives me goosebumps, because, you know, it's like facing your fears and being the voice for those that are silent. Like, I was one of those kids that would not speak up. I felt very afraid, and it's so amazing to see people like him speaking up and being a voice for people back in his home, in his community.
Keep doing what you do, love.
Thank you.
Really nice to meet you.
It's so
really
nice to meet you. It's an honor.
Thank you. And Reverend, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You'll find a link to all this weekend's World Pride events on our website.